All right, we're back on the scene this morning, and it's already, what, low 80s?
Yeah.
Pretty warm out, but at least the sun's behind the cloud for a minute. I'm down in the pool, obviously. Amber's working on the edge there.
Yes, someone, not to mention names, rolled up onto the tile with paint.
Gee, who could have done that? In all fairness, I was working out of the deep end with an extra long roller and standing on the side of the
We
pool
don't have time for excuses.
and slipped a little bit as I was going up the wall.
Yeah,
You may have gotten a little paint on the wall.
One spot.
Yeah, I cleaned that off for you too, didn't I? All right, so while she's doing that, I'm working on the main drain. Back in the day when this thing was built, they just had a traditional 6-inch floor drain down here. But since the 2000s, those have been retrofitted with these retrofit covers, and this is the base plate for the cover. And the reason being is that there was a child, well, multiple children were harmed by the main drains. They would get suctioned to the drain, unfortunately, and some were severely injured and some actually perished. So they passed a law named after one of the kids that was actually killed and designed these retrofit covers that need to go in place to protect kids from such tragedies. So anyways, we have this base plate, and our drain has no screw holes anywhere in it because it's old school. The old drain just kind of sat there loosely, which is super scary. But so I've removed the drain cover, and now I've got this base plate that will actually be screwed down using some concrete anchors and stainless steel screws. And then once that's in place, then there's a white cover that goes over top of it, and it's secured with 3 screws into the base plate. And with that, it creates this, even though you've got pretty good flow, it creates this kind of suction, swirling suction that prevents people from actually getting stuck on it. And it increases the surface area of the drain so that all parts of the drain are sucking less, if that makes sense. So at any rate, I'm going to go ahead and get this thing anchored in place. Got to drill a couple of holes in the pool and put the anchors in, and we'll get that thing mounted. And once we've done that, we'll go ahead and install the cover.
So Chris is drilling pilot holes for the screws that will hold the main drain to the bottom of the pool. He was.
That was what the walk.
What do you mean walk?
Wobble off
wobble.
the hole.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to drill a pilot hole with this.
Oh, okay.
This one.
Gotcha.
Alright, hopefully this will do better.
Okay. What are you drilling through? I mean, is it concrete?
Concrete.
Or, okay. I didn't know if there was a lip or anything on that.
No,
Okay.
there is closer in.
Okay. Why is there water coming up out of that?
Well, that sucks.
Why is that doing that?
That's groundwater. Apparently there's a void around the main drain in the concrete. I mean, I can mix up some hydraulic cement and plug it, but still.
Yeah.
That worries me. I have to get the shop back down here. You could fill up the whole bottom of the pool. I don't know how much water's there.
All right, so we got all the groundwater out. We drilled the other side, no groundwater came out. So Chris is filling the holes with hydraulic cement. And he also put the anchors in to hold the main drain. So that was very bizarre.
Well, it was. There shouldn't have been water there.
No.
It looked like this area had been repaired at some point
Yeah,
in the past.
it did. It was a different color.
And there was plastic pipe here instead of the original
Yeah.
cast iron or galvanized. So, only thing I could think of is when they repaired it, they didn't get concrete 100%
Yeah,
around it. There was an air pocket, and the pipe actually goes out on this side.
right.
So I'm guessing maybe the concrete
Maybe
left a
it's-
pocket
Or settled
around
something,
that pipe.
yeah.
And anyways, the pressure of the water trying to get out is a lot greater than the water trying to get in. So
Right.
you're not worried about groundwater coming in, but at
Okay.
the same time, you don't want your pool water going out.
Yeah,
So we just packed some hydraulic cement in there and then embedded the anchors in the hydraulic cement.
okay,
You probably let it dry and then put a little pool paint around it
okay.
just to protect it a little more.
All right, we can do that. Just one more step in the process.
Yay.
Nothing in this project has been easy or straightforward. And it's
No.
all out of our comfort zone.
Lots of challenges all along the way.
All right, well, I guess we'll let that dry and go on to another project and then come back to this one later in the day.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. All right, so Chris is in our cozy pool house. And he is getting ready to run the waste line. So what's that coming out of?
Comes out of the back of the filter valve.
Okay,
When you want to drain the system or backflow or
okay,
backwash the filter, water comes out of there and then goes down into the drainage pit
Okay.
and goes out.
so that big square on the ground is our drain line. So our pool house is no more than, oh, I'd say maybe 5 feet tall. It is tight. It was made probably back in the 60s or 70s whenever they got the pool. And equipment back then, I guess, was a lot smaller. At least what we took out of here was much smaller. And we have dreams of taking off the roof, don't we?
Yes.
Let me step back here because what we want to do is make it look kind of like a colonial outbuilding. We're going to take the roof off, make it taller, put a nice sloped roof, make it look like something you might see from Colonial Williamsburg. We'll put up some sort of covering to over the stone. Got vision. We're just out of money at this point. And time. More so time. We have a whole house to finish inside, so I convinced Chris to put that off till hopefully next summer so that we can get this pool done and move on to inside.
All right, so we got all of our pieces dry fitted for the waste line.
Awesome.
And that comes off the back of the valve and the filter assembly and then drops it down to the waste pit. And there's a piece of line that goes from there out to the edge of the bank over there past where Neptune used to be. So I'm going to go ahead and get all these things glued together.
All right, sounds good.
And that should really be the end of the plumbing.
Awesome. You're almost a professional at this point.
Got a lot of practice.
Are you just squeaking it by that valve there, or whatever that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was going down
Yeah.
fast.
Okay. From this angle, it looks like it's going to hit.
Well, it'll compress in a little bit over here.
Okay.
When I glue it together.
Gotcha. Leveling, and then you mark it, and then glue it.
Right. Good thing I get this fan going here.
Yeah, you're all nice and cool. I'm out in the hot sun sweating.
I'm in because of the fumes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can smell it. So that's a two-part glue, right?
Yep, primer and solvent.
Okay. Good job. We will check back in when you have it finished.
All right. All right, so the waistline is done. You can see it comes off the back of the valve there and then comes down past this manifold here for the heater, and then it drops down into the waste pit there. So anytime we backwash the filter or anything else and open that waste valve, it'll blow down into the waste pit there and go out of the pump house. So that was the last little bit of plumbing that I had to take care of. Everything else has been done. So we are pretty well set for the most part. We're going to grab a quick bite to eat, and when we get back down here, we're going to be wiring up the new control panel to the pumps. We're going to drop some breakers in and get them all wired up, and then also we've got to chop a hole in the ceiling above our sand filter so that we can actually put our Zeo sand into the filter. Got to get that baby all hooked up and ready to go. So that should be fun, but we're making good progress here, inching along closer to being ready to fill this pool up and put it to good use. All right, so we let the hydraulic cement dry and let the anchors set up, and they were nice and solid. So I came down here a little bit ago and went ahead and put some screws into the base plate, got it anchored in place, and then screwed on the top cover there. And that's looking really good. Shouldn't go anywhere, shouldn't leak, and should give us plenty of protection for the kids who might get down here and swim down into the dark depths here. Can't be too careful. And that other drain was old school and definitely out of date and dangerous. So happy to have one more thing checked off the list here. You get a great look at our new LED light there. That thing is super cool. The kids are going to love it. It does all sorts of different programs. You can set it up to do, all sorts of different light shows. Red, white, and blue, Mardi Gras, all sorts of fun stuff. So we're going to have a good time with that. Alright, so I just made a run to the big box store to get some electrical supplies. And as you can see, we're going to be using the ultra tight non-metallic liquid tight flexible conduit. That stuff's great. It uses these liquid tight fittings to anchor everything together. And we got a thing of Romex here. I'm using 12.2. Up to a 1 horse pump, you're good for 14 gauge, but I went ahead and used 12 gauge to give us a little extra oomph. We got a 1 horse and a 1.5 horse. These are the liquid tight fittings. So on one end you got a compression fitting that goes up into the flexible conduit, and on the other end you've got a standard 1/2 inch threaded fitting that you can either use that lock washer to screw it into a traditional box, or on these pumps they can just thread right in. They've got threaded fittings on the end of them, so we'll be able to just thread those right in and then run our wires right through there. And you tighten those suckers down and you got a nice watertight connection on all of your stuff. And then we also have some breakers. Got some double pole 15 amp. We're going to be using those on the 2 pumps and on the heater. And then a couple of single pole 15 amp, one for the outside electric socket I got here. Pretty handy setup here. Came with a weather resistant and damper resistant cover and a GFCI outlet and a box, fittings, everything. So pretty sweet setup. And the other one, the other 15 amp, that'll go to our transformer on the wall that'll power the pool light. So we should be pretty well set with this thing, with this bag of stuff here. This is thermostat wire. It's 5/18, so it's 18 gauge, 5 strands. I'm going to use that as my control wires between the pumps and the heater and the light module and everything else, and our control box over here on the wall. Probably only need 3 of those, but doesn't hurt to have a couple extra leads just to give ourselves some wiggle room there in case we need to add a circuit later. I'm going to get wiring and see what I can get done here. Try to get this place all wired up and put back together. Alright, I got the heater wired up. And as you can see, I'm using this flexible conduit. This stuff's great because it's waterproof. It's O-ring sealed against the control panel and against the cover over there. So in case anything splashes when we're draining back filters or anything like that, or roof leaks or whatever, we're covered. This stuff's made to be used around pools and spas and everything else, so it's perfect for exterior use. You can even use it on your heat pump or whatever next to the house, and it can be out in the full weather. So good stuff. It's a little pricey, but it does a really nice job. So next up is the control wire for the heater. Let me slide. Ow! Yeah, that was me hitting the stack. Still need to take that thing out of there because we got to put a new stack in for the new heater. Anyways, let's see here. So next we got to wire up the control switch. You can see there's a whole bunch of little screws right there, and they have a corresponding label next to them. There's heater 1 relay and heater 2 relay. We're going to use heater 1. We're just using 1 heater. In some cases people have 2. One's a gas heater, one's a heat pump, and so we may add that heat pump later on sometime, but for right now we're happy with the gas heat. Gas is pretty inexpensive around here, so that works well for us. So I got to get that wired, and for that we're using a 18 gauge thermostat wire. It's nice because it's jacketed and good copper conductor there, and that'll run over here and hook into that lower block there, and that will enable us to use this control panel to control the heater rather than the heater's own control panel, which is hiding under this cover here. So once we get everything set up and ready to go, we'll switch this over to override, and that will enable this control panel to control it. It sounds complex, but really once we get everything wired up and programmed, it'll really run by itself. I mean, we're not going to have to do a whole lot to it. So I'm going to keep plugging away here. It's thundering outside right now, so if it starts raining I may have to throw everything in the house and bail out, but I'm going to try to get a few more of these things wired up. Got 2 more pumps to go, and then we also have to wire the transformer for our pool light. So we'll see how much we can get done here before it gets dark. Well, like I mentioned earlier, I heard thunder in the distance and started seeing a few sprinkles, and all of a sudden the skies just opened up, so I had to hustle, get all my stuff back in the house, close up the pool house, get everything protected and dried in for the evening. So this is going to wrap up this episode of Woodmere State Revival. We had a good weekend. We got lots done, even though it was just blazing hot. We got a lot accomplished. We got the pool light installed. We got the main drain safety cover installed. We got the control panel installed, and we started wiring the control panel. Got the heater done today. Tomorrow I'll come down after work and go ahead and hopefully get 1 or 2 of the pumps done, and then move on to get our light wired up, our transformer. So we're going to keep on moving. We are winding down this pool project though. It's so exciting to see these last few steps coming together, because we just absolutely cannot wait to be able to jump in there and be able to use that pool. Obviously there's still no patio back there, just mud. So that's going to be coming up. We've got our concrete guy. He'll be back week after next. He wanted to give us some time to get the pool in operation, make sure there was no leaks, no problems, and then he'll be back on the scene to go ahead and finish up with the grading, put down the gravel, and go ahead and pour our concrete patio around the pool. So we cannot wait to see that go into place. That's really going to make this property so much more usable, to have the pool and the concrete and everything set in place. We just can't wait to get that taken care of. So thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit that subscription button so you don't miss a single episode. And as always, if you got any comments or questions, be sure to leave those down below. Give us a like if you would, please. We always appreciate those. Tell your friends, family, neighbors, co-workers, people you sit beside at church, whoever, about Woodmere State Revival. We are really enjoying making these videos and sharing these with you guys, and there's so much more to come in the interior of the house, and also all the landscaping and all the projects that are to come outside as well. So be sure to keep tuning back in. We'll see you guys again real soon. Thanks.